Intend to speak on an item, please sign up on the sheet with that item's name on it. That's how we will recognize people who came to speak. Your name will be called.
Like this, you mean? Well, I have a bunch of those. I could just wear those. Oh, wow.
They use the single use?
They are, but
Like, yeah, we should use that kind, she
Karen
said.
and I figured out a way of doing start out and reuse it. With all so you can
Okay. Yeah.
try to find some surgical.
That's what my husband uses. I guess I should too.
Get your class once, but I would recommend it that you get surgical mask underneath.
Right.
Thank you.
Good to know. Thank you.
That's just something that, now policy,
Thank
Yeah.
you.
and that's about the only update I can legally give you.
That's fine. Thank you.
I'm good with
We
that.
appreciate that.
Thank you. And stay safe. Yeah.
Well, they just got in for my team, they just got in, some full face respirators, like firefighters wear,
Oh, yeah.
and they're ordering more.
Good.
We can't even go outside the kitchen without a face shield on.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay.
And we're good to go.
Mm-hmm. So, do we know who's on Zoom? I only saw Rick so far.
Dawn, are the Zoomers all on?
There's Rick.
Who's Rick? That's all.
I see Rick. Not sure if anyone.
Well, we need 5 for a quorum, and we have 5. So
Okay.
we're good.
Yep.
We're level on muted right now.
Looks like Mike Dugan is here.
They're all there.
Yep.
Baker,
Mike Dugan, Baker Goldsmith, and Johnson.
Michelle.
And Michelle, okay. All right, good, we're all there.
Yep.
Larry's not the only one there.
Looks like Mike just unmuted.
Hi, bud. Can you hear me now, Rick?
Yes.
I
Okay.
can.
We didn't hear you in chambers.
Michelle, can we hear you today?
Hey there.
Okay, hi.
Michelle.
I hit record.
All right, ready? Tonight's invocation will be led by Commissioner Ladante Walker, and the pledge will be led by Commissioner Brian White, and please join us.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Fill us with your grace and continue to remind us that all that we do here today is for your glory and for the service of our community. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, gentlemen. Oh, sorry. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, Planning Commission for December 10th, 2020 is now called to order. Before we call the roll, the Governor's social distancing directives for COVID-19 have changed our meeting format considerably. Before we call the roll, the Governor's social distancing for COVID, oh, I already said that part, sorry. Some planning commissioners are here in board chambers. Some are participating elsewhere via Zoom. In chambers with me are LaDante Walker, Brian White, Wayne Thomason, and Planning and Development Director Kathy Selman. Joining us via Zoom are Michelle Baker, Rick Ramick, Mike Dugan, and and Baker Goldsmith. We're limited to 21 occupants in the board chambers. We take up some of that. Applicant representatives and planning staff who worked on the report will be in the room with us. Some members of the public can be accommodated in chambers if they have signed up to speak. Once you have spoken, please leave the chamber so someone else can come in. Zoning Commissioner Robin Weiss will be coordinating speakers who have signed up so that everyone has an opportunity. If you intend to sign up and haven't done so far, please do so we can call your name in order. Mrs. Sweet Dobbs, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Rick Ramick,
Here.
Wayne Thomason,
Here.
Mike Dugan,
Here.
Michelle Baker,
Here.
Brian White,
Here.
LaDonte Walker,
Here.
Baker Jackson Goldsmith,
Here.
Carrie Hobby, and she did communicate with us to let us know she would not be here tonight. And Hillary Janet.
Here. Okay, may I have a motion for approval of tonight's agenda, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Kathy, do I need to ask them individually?
No, not for
Okay,
that.
all right. Okay, the next item on tonight's agenda is the consent agenda. The items placed in this section are applications which demonstrate compliance with applicable city requirements. These items shall not involve discussion by the Planning Commission and/or the public. The consent agenda will be voted on in one motion. However, if two commissioners so desire, individual items may be discussed and/or voted upon as a separate matter of business. Anybody?
No one signed up.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
May I have a motion for approval of tonight's consent agenda with staff findings and recommendations?
Madam Chairman, has anybody signed up to speak on either one of those items?
Let me check.
I'm stuttering tonight, Wayne, I'm sorry. Okay. For the restaurant, the McDonald's restaurant?
That's the applicant.
I know, but do they need to speak?
No,
Okay.
no. Recommendation is for
McDonald's restaurant,
approval.
you've been approved. Okay,
Right, not quite.
Yeah.
I didn't do a second.
Make a motion to accept.
Oh, thank you, sorry.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. I'm back on,
Would you like to hear the items on the consent agenda?
I would, thank you.
Yeah, would.
Thank you. The items are a lot line adjustment, LS 2158 for Chicken Express located at 3025 and 3019 Albert Pike Road. Applicants are William and Stacy Little. The recommendation is for approval with a condition, and that condition is that the applicant will provide at least 4 copies of the plat with all proper signature blocks signed and dated, and with the planning director's signature for recordation within 30 days at the Garland County Circuit Clerk's office. 1 copy must be returned to the planning department. The second item on the consent agenda is a site plan application, SPA 2161, a large-scale site plan for McDonald's restaurant rebuild. The recommendation on that also is for approval, and there are 4 conditions which I will read into the record. The development site shall be constructed and developed in strict accordance with the approved site and development plan, including but not limited to location of buildings, drives, parking, and landscaping. Number 2, all construction and construction activity are to be accomplished in strict accordance with all applicable approval conditions and with the minimum standards, codes, rules, and regulations and policies as may now or hereafter be required or enacted by the City of Hot Springs, the state of Arkansas and/or the United States of America, including the Arkansas Fire Prevention Code, whether or not submitted for staff review or planning commission approval. Number 3, city utilities asks the new fire line stub-out, tapping sleeve, and demarcation valve on the western portion of the property, and the new relocated 6-inch fire main and fire hydrant shown on the southeast portion of the property shall be constructed as agreed to by the City Utilities Department as part of the relocations necessary for RDOT Highway 270 widening project. This condition is subject to approval by the Piney Fire Protection Association. And number 4, required permits shall be in hand for Garland County Stormwater and Arkansas Department of Transportation prior to any work beginning. That concludes the presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Silman. And thank you for bailing me out. That was both, right? We only have 2.
Right.
Now.
All we need is a vote.
Now, yay.
Yes.
Okay, now, may I have a motion for approval of tonight's consent agenda? No, I have to do it after she reads it.
No, before.
Oh, well, I already
We
did
just
it.
need to vote.
Why am I missing? So now we need to vote.
Yes.
All in favor, vote aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, same sign. Then the item passes.
Yes.
Both items pass. And I apologize to the audience, I'm sometimes not too swift. Okay, the next item on tonight's agenda is new business. There will be an opportunity for the applicant to speak and for everybody that signed up to speak. Ms. Item, would you please introduce the next item, which is item 3?
Thank you. Item number 3 is a rezone application, RZ 20-159, a rezone request for Shirley Postal Ridge property at Postal Ridge Court.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve? It only gets the matter on the floor for discussion. It does not mean that you approve the actual item in particular. Just a motion to approve so we can hear the
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. Director Selman, would you please present the item?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
The applicant and property owners are Philip and Mark Shirley, Shirley Enterprises LLC. They originally requested approval for a change of zoning from PD, Plan Development, to C4, Regional Commercial Open Display District, for this property at Postal Ridge Court. The subject property is currently zoned PD, has a future land use plan map designation of Regional Commercial Center, and is located in Board of Directors District Number 5. The application subsequently was revised to Plan Development Use Amendment. An application to divide the land to create lots is the applicant's next step, and Planning Commission approval of the uses is required tonight. This is approximately 12 and a half acres. It was zoned PD in 1994. It's located on or off Postal Ridge Court, and it's an infill parcel in a developed area of the city. Surrounding land uses are residential properties zoned R2 to the south, undeveloped parcels with zoning designation of C4 to the east, commercial properties zoned C4 to the northeast, and that's the Eye Clinic and Higdon Center. Commercial properties to the north, the Higdon Ferry Superstop, Bank of the Ozarks, and U.S. Post Office, which is zoned PD. Residential properties zoned R2 to the northwest, and the Elks Lodge, a commercial property with a zoning designation of C4. Surrounding future land use designations are Business Commercial Center, Regional Commercial Center, and Regional Residential Low Density, sorry. Is there
There is. I don't know what that is.
I think it's our alarm system.
a alarm system? Okay, I'll be back.
Thank you. get this back at the same time, just a minute, since we actually voted on it. Put my act together tonight. Okay.
Sorry about that. That's the first.
It's still going off.
I know.
Oh.
It won't take my information. So let's move right along. According to Garland County Tax Assessor, the subject property is not platted and it's been undeveloped for many years. The applicant's narrative, which is in your packet, states, "We believe this commercial subdivision will match and be compatible with existing commercial developments that surround this property and also future projects in the area. This part of Hot Springs is the fastest growing and should trend commercial in the future." And again, I'll remind you, since I don't usually leave in the middle of the presentation, this is zoned PD. All right. The code lists specific findings for amendments to the regulation and map. And those are the usual findings, that it demonstrates compatibility with surrounding development or zoning, is consistent with the objectives of the zoning code, implements an approved city plan, responds to a significant change in surrounding physical, economic, land use, or other condition, fulfills a demonstrated public need for land so zoned, or corrects an error in previous city action. Hot Springs Code Section 16247, PD Plan Development District, specifically acknowledges PD, thank you, for development flexibility of vacant infill parcels. C4 zoning, according to Hot Springs Code, is to be adjacent to arterial roads and highways, which the subject land is not. The subject acreage is adjacent to commercial uses and zoning, but is also adjacent to residential along the border with Beverly Hills subdivision. Following discussion between the applicants and the planning director, the applicants choose to amend their request to a PD use amendment, staying with PD rather than changing to C4, to narrow the possible commercial uses and eliminate those that might be incompatible with their residential neighbors. There is a list of uses site-wide that has been provided in detail. The amendment as proposed in the applicant's revised request more clearly assures compatibility with adjacent uses and zoning. Future land use plan map designates the subject land regional commercial, and the revised request implements that adopted city plan. Required findings for the zone change of a PD use amendment are met. The finding is the site zone PD plan development in 1994. Future land use plan map designation of regional commercial center is at this time undeveloped. Surrounding land uses are residential and commercial. The proposed changes amending Shirley Plan Development to add specific listed commercial uses for the subject 12.5 acres located at Postal Ridge Court demonstrates compatibility with existing and surrounding development and zoning and is consistent with the future land use plan map. The recommendation is that Planning Commission recommend that the Board of Directors approve an ordinance amending the Shirley PD to add certain listed commercial uses on 12.5 acres located at Postal Ridge Court because that change demonstrates compatibility with existing and surrounding development and zoning, is consistent with the objectives of the zoning code, and implements an approved city plan as required by Hot Springs Code, Section 16211. That completes the presentation.
Thank you, Director Selman. Will the applicant now come forward? And sir, if you'll give us your name and your address, you'll have 5 minutes to explain. If you have anything else to add, that is.
Do what?
If you have anything else to add.
Oh, okay. My name's Philip Shirley. I am one of the owners, and we have decided to try to develop this land that we've owned
Address,
for...
please.
I'm sorry, Rick, did you say something?
Yes, address, please.
Address.
What?
Address, your address?
Where I live?
Yes.
529 Birchwood Bay Road,
Thank
Hot
you.
Spring. So we have chosen to go the route of limiting our uses for this land to try to be compatible with the neighbors, our residential neighbors. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I don't guess I have too much more to add to that, but we do plan on selling lots, and I think that's about all I have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Signed up to speak on this item, we have Jeff High. Mr. High, if you'll please give us your name and address, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, Jeffrey High, 124 Elise Circle. I live adjacent to the subject property, and I heard discussion about that the use would be consistent with the residential, that there would be limited options, but I didn't hear what those were. I don't know what they are. I heard some talk before about some kind of adventure thing, that maybe that was the original plan, but I didn't know the plan had changed. But I would like to express my concerns that that this is a area that's kind of an I mean, it's not. You mentioned about it not being on the adjacent to the main travel routes, and it's really in a residential area that'd be more suited for that. But so I have concerns with that. I'd like to know what the uses are limited to. I did not hear that in the presentation.
Would you like to read those?
Yes, at the conclusion of testimony, if there are others, we'll read that list.
Okay, then I'd like an opportunity to read, to comment again, depending on what those uses are.
Are there others who are speaking? Okay, you're the only one, so I'll read that list. It's appliance repair or sales, barber, beauty shop, business machine sales and service, convenience or specialty retail, daycare, medical office or clinic, financial institution, physical therapy and fitness center, gallery or museum, personal services, nursing and convalescent home, office, restaurant without drive-through, school, business, commercial, or trade, school, preschool, sporting goods store, production studio, vehicle parts, retail or wholesale, wholesale enclosed, and north of an east-west line that would be drawn 50 feet south of the line extending the south property line of Dr. Braley's property, lodging would be allowed. So that would be the north end of the property closer to Section Line Road.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, some of those uses I do not believe would be compatible with the surrounding, especially the residential portion of the surrounding properties, and I object to that, and I'd like to put that on the record.
Which uses, sir, do you object to on the record?
I'd have to have time to study that again and go through it, but many of those did not sound compatible with in a residential neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
There's nobody else to speak on this item? Then the public portion is closed. Commissioners? Questions? Discussion?
Madam Chairman, are you going to call the commissioners by name and ask them? Okay.
Looking for nods.
Okay.
But we'll just go. Ladante, do you
No
have anything
question.
you'd like to say or ask?
No question.
Mr. White?
Yes, Madam Chairman, I do. I'm very concerned that Don, can we pull up the map of the area, please?
Yes.
I'm very concerned about ingress and egress to this property. Post Office Court is not very wide, it's not very long, and it lets out, right directly across from the Hidden Ferry entrance to the bypass. So it has very big traffic flow. It's very difficult to turn left or right out of that coming from either direction at certain times of the day. Traffic is extremely heavy. I think any commercial use would pose an ingress and egress nightmare as well as a public safety nightmare. And that area is already the site of many, many major traffic accidents. So I don't think without direct access to an arterial, I don't see how any kind of commercial development back in that landlocked pocket is feasible. And I don't, it's just too dangerous. Also, on the southern end, where we have this established neighborhood, I don't see that putting commercial businesses that are allowed under this provision, I don't see how that would bring any enhancement to the neighborhood at all. As many of you know, many of my colleagues know, I'm a big advocate for established neighborhoods. I don't know how much of that 12 and a half acres would be used commercially. None of us know right now because this is just a zoning change request. But I would have to object just simply on the ingress and egress issues and on the potential for public safety hazards and nightmares over there. And that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Thomason?
No, I have none.
Thank you. Commissioner Baker? Michelle, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? When I'm looking at the map, is the only way in and out of that through the street that runs alongside the post office? Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Ramick?
Yes, I too am concerned with the ingress and egress into that area, spreading out to section line and on to Hidden Ferry, so I'm going to have a hard time approving this.
Thank you. Commissioner Dugan?
I think that I felt like it was going to be a purely residential area, that would be adequate. But if a commercial element is added to this, it could present some serious traffic issues in there.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Goldsmith?
Yeah, I did want to clarify. In y'all's presentation, I believe you said that the applicant was applying for C4, but that you had recommended or discussed staying with PD. Was that correct? Or
That is correct. The land on either side, east and west of the subject property is Zone C4 at this time. And the difficulty with C4 for this particular piece is that C4 specifically says that arterial or highway access is required, and that there are a vast number of uses, including vehicle sales, outdoor display, and far more traffic-intensive kinds of uses in the C4 zone than in the PD zone. In the PD zone, as you know, a use has to provide a detailed site plan, including landscaping, screening from adjacent properties, lighting, type of operation, hours of operation. All of those things come to Planning Commission for a specific approval prior to any individual use being approved on the site. This is a little bit out of sync because it is an established PD, and so we're approaching this first from the aspect of uses, and would then, as uses are proposed that are on that list, they would come to Planning Commission for approval of a detailed site plan. But the code does require where a commercial use is adjacent to a residential use that screening and a landscape buffer must be provided.
So,
I think I'm a little, right.
I'm sorry, go on, Michelle.
Sorry. Well, my question was, in the original planned development, what was the use of the
Multifamily,
original planned development?
multifamily condominiums.
Okay.
Commissioner Goldsmith?
Yeah, so I guess my question was, are we voting to still change it to C4, or are we...
No.
The vote is for PD.
The vote is to establish some commercial uses in the PD zone that is attached to the Shirley Plan development.
Gotcha.
Limiting others, right?
Right, and these are the only commercial uses that would be considered.
So our vote is to establish the list at this point of what would be permitted within this particular PD zone?
Yes,
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
And all proposals will come before us to allow fine tuning.
yes, and additionally, as Mr. Shirley mentioned, their goal is to be able to establish lots for development, so a subdivision plat would come to you before any of this would happen, yes. And that would establish ingress, egress, and circulation on the site.
Any other comments
Thank
or
you.
questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Sullivan, do you foresee the possibility of any other road entrances or access, the ingress, egress, developing in the near future out of any development there?
I don't. I don't see any possibility of that based on the information that's available at this time.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, I'm going to go ahead and make a statement. I live in the Beverly Hills subdivision. I travel Higdon Ferry and Section Line every day. I see no problem with this personally.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomason. Anybody else?
Yes, if I understand this correctly, they are not asking for a change. They're asking to remain the same as it is that correct?
They're asking to remain a PD and to add certain limited commercial uses to the list of approved uses for the PD.
Okay, so they already had this access and this approval before they came before us tonight.
Yes,
So this is kind of a non-issue, is that correct?
yes.
Okay, so it's a waste of our time, but let's go ahead and vote.
Thank you. Ms. Sweet Dobbs, would you please call the roll? I have a motion to approve. Call the roll to approve, please.
Yes. Rick Ramick,
Yes.
Lane Thomason,
Yes.
Mike Dugan,
Yes.
Michelle Baker,
Yes.
Baker Jackson Goldsmith,
Yes.
Brian White,
No.
You need to explain why.
Ingress and egress and public safety.
Ladonte Walker,
Yes.
and Hillary Janet.
Yes.
Okay, could I ask clarification? Commissioner Baker, was your vote yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, the vote is 7-1. The motion to forward this to the Board of Directors with a recommendation to approve the list of uses in the PD zone for the Shirley Plan Development is approved. The Board of Directors will make the final decision, and their meeting is, let's see, sorry, January 5th, I believe, but let me confirm that. Yes, January 5th. Their hearing will be in this room. It will be at 7 p.m. And Mr. Shirley, you should plan to be at that meeting.
I have a question. If we're not changing anything, why does this need to go before the board?
This action is done by ordinance and requires board approval. They're amending a PD zone district.
Okay, but I don't see any changes here. So, I just don't understand why, we pursue this any longer.
Well, the PD zone, for everyone, is a two-part zone. There is a site plan and there is a list of uses. In this case, the Shirleys are asking to expand the list of possible uses. Because the PD zone is established by an ordinance that was passed by the board, in order to amend that ordinance, the board must pass another ordinance.
Okay, I would request that they, when they come before the board, they have a list of what they're requesting.
Yes, that list is in your packet and will be forwarded to the board.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Director Selman. Will you please introduce item 4?
Yes, thank you. Item 4 is a rezone application, RZ 20162, a request to change C3 neighborhood commercial zoning to R4 multifamily residential at 1212 Spring Street.
Ma'am, we're not ready for you yet, please. Thank you. I'm sorry. May I have a motion to approve that merely gets the matter on the floor for discussion? A motion to approve and a second do not mean that you are necessarily in favor of this particular application. But may I please have a motion for approval of item 4?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Selman, would you please present the staff report?
Thank you, Chairman. Item number 4, applicant and property owner Carolyn Hanna seeking an after-the-fact approval for change of zoning from C3 Office Neighborhood Commercial District to R4 Medium-High Density Residential at 1212 Spring Street. The subject property is currently zoned C3, has a future land use plan map designation of linear commercial corridor, and is located in Board of Directors District Number 2. The site is developed with a commercial structure. Surrounding land uses and zoning are a mix of developed and undeveloped residential and commercial properties, and future land use plan map designations. the applicant's proposal for a change of zoning from C3 Office Neighborhood Commercial to R4 Medium High Density Residential for the subject property located at 1212 Spring Street demonstrates compatibility with existing and surrounding development or zoning and is consistent with the objectives of the future land use plan map with the amendment to this site to residential medium high. The recommendation is that the board approve an ordinance amending the zoning map to C4 for the property at 1212 Spring Street because the request demonstrates compatibility with existing and surrounding development and zoning, is consistent with the zoning code, and with the future land use plan map amendment to residential medium high, implements the objectives of the future land use plan. That concludes the presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Excuse me, is the applicant here? Now you can come up and speak to us, please. We need your address and your name, and you have 5 minutes.
I'm Carolyn Hanna. I live at 1545 Spring Street. What else did I need?
Just your name and address.
Name and address, okay. And I submitted a letter to you guys about what my purpose was for this building. My family, the Hanna family, has lived in this neighborhood ever since my husband was born there. And we know what the history of this building is. It means a lot to restore it, but we're going to restore it to a duplex. And we've already see the potential of it. It'll be better than it's ever been before. There have been other businesses in this building, but we have gone to a great extent to improve it and to make it better than what it's been before. And I'm proud to be able to do that. We have other properties in this neighborhood, and we love our neighborhood.
That's good. Oh, I shouldn't have said that, sorry, excuse me.
The neighborhood is really dying around there, and this will liven it up and give it, I feel like, a new look. And I'm just excited about it. Our carpenters are getting ready to put a roof on it, a metal roof on it, and it's going to be beautiful when it's finished. So I need your help in getting this passed, and I'm very emotional about it. But I know that God gave me this building, and when it happened in 2016, I didn't know what it was going to be. But the Lord directly spoke to me about turning it into this duplex. And my husband and I are in agreement on this, so that's what we're going to do. You let us. And I need it. My son owns the property behind it, and it is zoned R4, so it borders that property, and he owns all the lots around it. So it would really be nice to get this done. It will also help me with my insurance, my utilities, the taxes that I have to pay on it. If it's not commercial, they will be easier to pay and less to pay. We have invested a lot of money in it already, and there's still much to do. But I just feel like that I wanted to come before you, and I want to get this settled so we can go on with what we're doing. And I hope y'all will let me do that. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Weiss, has anybody else signed up to speak?
The only speaker was the applicant.
Thank you. All right, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Nobody else is here to speak to us. Therefore, it is up to us to discuss now. Commissioner Baker, do you have any comments, questions, concerns?
I don't think I have any questions at this time, no.
Commissioner Ramick?
Yes, is this after the fact request?
It is, Work was begun on this for the duplex, which is not a use allowable in the existing zone.
Okay, well, they issued a building permit.
They were issued a building permit for something else.
So they are asking us to do something exactly opposite of what they asked for.
They have changed their plans.
Okay, I'd like to see the new plan.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that?
He said he'd like to see the new plans.
There's sketches of it in our packet.
There may be sketches in your packet, but this is a rezone request, and those plans are illustrative only. They are not binding on the applicant.
Okay, I'm just disappointed that construction started without planning commission approval, and I've driven by the property, there's training going on, and all types of activities that do not meet the code for schoolhouse furniture.
I think sometimes, Commissioner Rainick, if you'll permit me, people that are not as tightly involved in the government of the city as you and I and others here might be, don't completely understand what the requirements are that are asked of them until they come before a session like this.
Okay?
Thank you. Commissioner Dugan?
No questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Goldsmith?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Walker?
No question.
Commissioner White?
Yes. Not really questions, I don't believe, but as many of you know, restoring old buildings is right in my wheelhouse.
Can you say, I love doing that?
I love doing that. That's what I base my career on. But I like seeing this transformation from an old commercial building, and I think the duplex idea is a good one. I too wish that you had sought out permits and such, but I also understand the chairwoman's point about people not knowing. I think personally, and this is just my personal opinion, that this is an excellent project. However, in the future, I would highly recommend not going forward until you have obtained the proper permittage and inspections and everything. That's as much for your protection and the future tenants' protection as it is for the city's protection. Those permits and inspections are installed for a reason.
I think you need to return to the microphone, please.
I have had knee surgery February the 25th, and I had shingles July the 14th, and I was down with that and very ill, and I got a building permit in 2016 when we first got the building, so I know that...
We can't hear on Zoom.
Would you
Sorry.
adjust your microphone? Thank you.
You want me to pull it down?
That's good.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good, thank you.
Okay. Well, it happened real quickly when I had a young man that came by that needed a job, and I needed a good carpenter. And Lonnie came in and began to work on it, and I called Anthony Utsey, and he came and looked at it for me. He is somebody that I know and have dealt with before, and he told me to come and get the building permits. So I went up to the Planning Commission, and I told them I needed two building permits. and I was charged a penalty. I paid $1,026.25 for 2 building permits. So because I didn't do what you're saying I needed to, I paid the penalty. And that hurt me. When I got out to my car, I looked at my checkbook, and I had written a check for half of what was there.
I understand.
And then
that.
I paid $300 for the electrical permits, and Scott Heller, with Heller Electric, had put electric already in it in 2018.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, but we have a time limit that we
I'm
have to
sorry,
stick to.
I'm sorry. I could have wrote a book on this.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to agree with, you can sit down, thank you. I'm going to agree with Commissioner White and say that I hope you teach your son these lessons so that when he develops his lots or changes them, he won't make the same mistakes his mama made. Thank you.
But
Commissioner
I am
Thomason?
I'm wonderfully impressed that you're doing this, and I wish you the best of luck. I will be voting for it.
Permits in 2016, I don't think what's going on today, you're still working on that building. Ms. Selma, does she have the correct permits in place now to work on that building?
They have permits.
Ma'am, I'm sorry.
They have permits. My understanding is that the permits relate to the repair of a church. I'm not looking at the database, so I couldn't say that for sure, but
The permit that was issued was for a church with a living quarter to the
Yes.
back.
Ma'am, we're not here for an argument, thank you. Thank you.
I mean, I don't think she done right. I don't care if she was sick. I know that's not good to be sick, but she should have had the proper permits. But I'm not against her making a duplex. I just wish she had done the right thing and went through the proper channels to do it.
And that she'll teach her son to do so.
Because I drove by that building and they're still working on that building.
Yeah. Okay. I have a motion to approve item 4. The staff findings and recommendations is to approve. Mrs. Sweet Dodd, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Mike Dugan,
Yes.
Michelle Baker,
Yes.
Baker Jackson Goldsmith,
Yes.
Ryan White,
Yes.
LaDonte Walker,
Yes.
Rick Ramick,
No.
Wayne Thomason,
What's Rick's reason?
Oh, I'm sorry. You got away from me. Commissioner?
Yeah, my reason is they didn't follow the building permit, and so we changed that, what to keep them from changing that again if we allow rezoning. So that's my position, voting no.
I don't think that's a reason based on code that we can accept. Director
Okay,
Stone?
then it's an as-built, they started construction before they had the approval for zoning change.
Okay, that existing development is not consistent with the zoning code?
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramick. I'm sorry.
Pardon?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wayne Thomason,
Yes.
and Hillary Janet.
Yes.
Okay, by a vote of 7-1, this item passes on to the Board of Directors, who will make the final decision at a hearing in this room at 7 p.m. on January 5th, and the applicant will need to be present at that time.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Director Selman.
Thank you,
Now,
ma'am.
the next item on the agenda is the director's report. What do you have to report for us?
I have to report to you that I hope that you all have a very happy holiday season, and that whatever holiday you're celebrating is the best one ever, because this is a year that needs that. So,
2020.
Thank you, ma'am. It's going to be 2021 pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
We're going to hope for it.
We're all gonna get toilet paper for Christmas.
With no further business to discuss, we are ready to adjourn the December 10th, 2020 meeting of the Planning Commission.
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoomers. Thank you, in-personers.
Just wish you